This is Mountaineer Insider.
One of the most picturesque settings in all of college football brings us to the high country of Boone, North Carolina.
The App State Mountaineers are going dancing! Ball down, State puts it in the air. Got it! Got it! Got it!
To send the student section to its feet.
And now to your hosts, Dave Thomas and Matt Present.
Welcome back to the Mountaineer Insider on Skyline, Skybest, and WATA. It's another installment where we get to know the heartbeat of App State athletics, featuring and talking with and getting to know the student athletes themselves. I'm Dave Thomas from Curtis Media Group and WATA in Boone, along with Matt Present, the radio play-by-play voice for App State men's basketball. Today we're talking about one of the more exciting teams of the spring here, App State softball.
Yeah, it's finally warmed up for them a little bit here on the mountain. I know in the preseason I talked with Shelly Hoerner and she was saying they'd only gotten to practice about 10 times in Boone. Well, they finally got in rhythm, and then this weekend happened, and all of a sudden in April it's snowing here on the mountain. So it was pretty chaotic time for them. They were only able to play one of their 3 games against South Alabama, but we've got Baylee Morton and Kayt Houston on the show. Baylee is a fifth-year senior. She's been with Shelly Hoerner her entire career here at App, which is really cool. And then Kayt Houston, you talk about accomplishment on the field, back-to-back Conference Player of the Week award winner. And oh, by the way, a 3-homer game just a few weeks ago. She's off to just a red-hot start at the plate.
Baylee's part of the foundation that has App State softball moving in the upward direction, and Kayt is a part of the future that's going to continue to take it there. We'll get to know them coming up next on the Mountaineer Insider on Skyline, Skybest, and WATA.
Let's go!
To a place where you can grow.
A place to be heard.
And take a closer look.
A place where you can crush it.
And push yourself.
A place to find your voice.
This place rocks. And rolls.
A place where you can get out.
Wow!
A place you'll never forget.
So where is this place? Let me show you.
As I speak to incoming students, I get to see the excitement they have for this next phase of their lives. For some, they are the first in their families to go to college, and others are continuing a legacy of pursuing higher education. We know the journey through college is not always easy. Research tells us that obtaining a college education can be even more challenging for our students from underrepresented backgrounds. Appalachian Advocates is an opportunity to work with a cohort of faculty and staff who are willing to help foster a welcoming campus culture. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome back to the Mountaineer Insider on Skyline, Skybest, and WATA. I'm Dave Thomas. I'm with Matt Present, the radio play-by-play voice for App State men's basketball. This week, we're talking softball, and our first guest is Baylee Morton, grad student with the softball team. Thanks for taking time to join us today. We appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for having me here.
Tell us how you got into the sport. That's usually where we start. So when do you recall softball first being a thing with you?
For me, basically, my parents put me into a bunch of different things to let me kind of, try out, test the waters. I started t-ball probably when I was 3 or 4, and I was dancing as well. So I danced for 5 years while also, playing softball or t-ball, machine pitch, whatever. And my parents just kind of let me pick what I liked best, and softball it was.
What was it when you were making that decision that attracted you most to softball? What grabbed you about the sport?
I was probably just better at it than dance, honestly. I think that, I like to, talk and have a good time, and dance is kind of one of those things where you have a set thing that you have to do, so it was probably just being able to, be myself and, just have a good time.
But did dance in some way, at least having a background in it, help you in softball when you began to get more serious about the sport?
Maybe a little bit of ballet or something might have helped me with some flexibility, but I was super young, so I danced for 5 years, which I was probably 8 or something when I stopped dancing. So it wasn't too serious, just having a good time out there.
All right, so you pick softball. You start to get more serious, obviously, from T-ball on up through middle school. At what point did you decide that playing in college was something you wanted to pursue?
I think it was at a very young age that I decided that I wanted to go to college and play this. I am, the first person in my immediate family to go to college. So both of my parents went straight into like the trade and work field. So it was definitely something that I aspired to do, which was go to college. And, I played on travel teams, and there was a certain point where it was you can, stop playing competitively like this, or you can go on with another team to pursue something higher, like get a scholarship to play. So I would say probably about 8th or 9th grade. I know the rules have changed now, so it's, not that early that people are committing and stuff, but definitely at 8th or 9th grade was when I really decided that I wanted to pursue that.
You talk about being the first in your family to go to college, and we'll get into the fact that you've come back for an extra year. But aside from softball, getting that degree, how much pride do you take in that side of your accomplishments here at App?
It's definitely something that I take huge pride in. I've worked really hard here, and it is really cool to say that I'm the first in my family to go to college. It's something that, I came from very humble beginnings, and it makes it that much better, to know that I've worked hard for something and that I'm going to be able to take it into my adult life.
We're talking App State softball. Baylee Morton's our guest. So when you made that decision, okay, I want to go after this, were there a lot of things you had to give up and sacrifice to really focus in on being able to play college softball, but by meaning being eligible in the classroom?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when I was, first playing in high school and stuff, high school was really, when you kind of find yourself and stuff, and I had to give up a lot for, going, out and hanging out with my friends on the weekends because we were traveling and we were living in hotel rooms more than we were at, our house. So it was definitely something that I had to juggle, friendships and stuff and being social. But a lot of my friends ended up being my really close friends were on the team too. So it was just, a sisterhood that you bond with those teammates on the weekends and stuff. And then also in the classroom, like you talk about, you really have to, do your priorities. And education was a big priority for me. So I also had to, turn down sometimes, going out to eat with my friends or something because I had to do my homework, or even student teaching. I had to, it was basically a full-time job with no pay while also doing softball. So there's been a lot of different things that I've had to overcome and sacrifice for this, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
But you made a sacrifice, but your family sacrificed as well. So what does it mean to you now that you're at this point in your career? You look back at all those nights in the hotels and all those weekends on the road that they sacrificed for you.
My parents and my family, I couldn't really thank them enough. Usually on the weekends, like when I was playing travel ball, my parents really didn't get to come because, they were working, and my mom is in the medical field. So, you have really no days off. And if they were, sometimes they were Tuesdays and Wednesdays and not really the weekends. So I would kind of go with some of my friends and just stay with them. And I'm super thankful for them as well. But now it's just amazing to have my family come to games and be able to see all the sacrifices that they've made, all the money that they've put in, all the meals that we had to eat in the car. It's something really incredible for my parents to be able to see.
You talk about that sacrifice and kind of the evolution of your game. You haven't always been a catcher.
Yeah.
How did the position come about within your journey through softball?
Well, I actually started out pitching. It was, I don't know why, it was kind of just something that, when you're young and you're starting to get on a team, the pitcher was usually somebody who could just throw the ball over the plate. So it kind of started off with that, and then I pitched my freshman year of high school, and then I decided that catching was something that I really wanted to do. So I think being able to play a bunch of different positions is awesome, and then you learn a lot of perspective. Pitching is so hard and so difficult, and it's really taxing on the body. So I think that mentally it helps me know what the pitcher's going through out there, when I need to call time or when I need to go out there and just crack a joke or something.
managing those personalities is different, and you have to do that sometimes within a game when there's a pitching change. So do you sort of keep a notepad in the mind, so to speak, of, okay, now this person's in the circle, okay, these are her power buttons, or the buttons I can push, or the things I need to do. Do you sort of keep refreshing that week by week as you get to know these folks?
It's definitely something that you have to, keep in mind. I can't go up to one pitcher and say something that I can to the other pitcher, so it's definitely, you have to, build friendships and connections with these people, on the field and off the field. You need to know what, they tick or what they want to hear when you come out. They might want to hear, like, okay, like, get your head on straight, or they might just want to go out there and, make them laugh or just calm them down or something. So it's definitely, you have to know each pitcher and, like, what makes each pitcher, tick, what makes them better, what makes them mad. You don't want them mad out there throwing the ball at you, but, it's fun getting to, create those relationships. Hey, y'all hear about that kidnapping at school? What? No, he's fine. He just woke up.
I was going to save this for later in the conversation, but since you brought it up, going out there and cracking a joke, give me a go-to one that you're going to bring out with you to the mound to try to take their mind off whatever it is that they're working through at the time.
So I would probably just go out there and be like, what do you call a boomerang that doesn't come back? And then it's just a stick, so just something like that.
Breaker. Yeah, something to try to get their attention.
Yeah, attention off the game or something.
But not only are you managing the pitcher and their emotions and what they're going through, but you're sort of quarterbacking the infield as well. You're having to communicate. There's a lot going on back there.
Sure.
Just talk about some of the things you have to process during a game.
Well, so this year is definitely very different, as I am a fifth-year senior and I've played with a bunch of different teams, but this team is special and we have a lot of young talent. Our infield is basically a whole new team besides Emma Jones, who got hurt last year, but she's back and she's doing great. So I think this year I've had to take on a new role of kind of, I feel like I'm being the team mom sometimes. I have to make sure that we're getting stuff done, but like on the field, it is like making sure that, we know where the play's going, and like you think that, yes, like we are in college and we know what happens, but the game is so fast, and like sometimes I need to, calm us down, call time and get us all together, because, these freshmen on the field, they've never played at this speed and this type of pressure before. So I think just being able to control emotions and just be a leader and a voice of reason, tends to help a little bit.
You talk about the speed of the game, and obviously you have the perspective now being a fifth-year senior, but what do you remember from your own path through your first year or two in college about what was feeling fast about the game and how you went about trying to slow it down?
So physically, the players are just faster. They're better, they hit harder, they're more powerful, and then, the pitching speed. We see on a given weekend, 66 to whatever speed, and that's definitely something that was different from my high school experience and even travel ball. I mean, players are, elevating their game, and they're so much better even when they come in as freshmen. Like, these kids are really fast, and I think that, it took me a little while to get on track and, go with the game, but I think that telling myself and always just like controlling my breathing and the mental aspect of the game. And I did play as a freshman with a bunch of older kids, and I think that just talking with them and like, realizing that like we're all good and, I'm good and I can, be a playmaker on the field. I think that just being able to control the game down mentally is then you're physically able to control it.
How much of the leadership that you had then, that you have now, that you pick up from those older players?
A lot. Like when I came in, I was playing with a lot of seniors in the lineup, and I think that somebody who had a big impact on me was Haley Stewart, and she would always talk to me. We would go to dinner, and she would like tell me what she does, and just learning from other people, and then I think just making friendships with the people. It's easier to lead people that that respect you. So I think that gaining that respect and being friends with these people just make it so much easier.
She is Baylee Morton from App State Softball. We'll continue our conversation with her coming up next on the Mountaineer Insider on Skyline, Sky Best, and WATA.
The Student Yosef Club is a student booster organization that strives to support student athletes, maintain an electric game day atmosphere, and fuel the Mountaineer spirit. For just $25 a year or $85 for a 4-year plan, members receive an exclusive t-shirt, early entry into football and basketball games, and reserved midfield seating. Visit MountaineersAthleticFund.com today to sign up and become the next loyal member of the Student Yosef Club.
Welcome back to the Mountaineer Insider on Skyline, Sky Best, and WATA. I'm Dave Thomas, along with Matt Present. We're talking with Baylee Morton, catcher for the App State softball team. Now, softball was not always the sport that you played. You were a pretty good basketball player, from what I understand. Tell us about that. How did you get into basketball, and then when did you really just sort of put that away?
I've always, like I said with T-ball, I've always kind of been in basketball. It was year-round at my house. We were doing, something. So basketball, I've always played it ever since, I could probably walk. I was out there, probably traveling and stuff. But I played in high school all throughout my high school career up to senior year. I decided probably about 9th grade that I really wanted to pursue softball. Basketball's a lot of running, but I did enjoy softball a lot more. I just like the pace of the game. Basketball, you don't really get any time to, unwind, and, I kind of needed that time to be able to control my emotions and my breathing and stuff, and you can't control anything on the basketball court, let alone your breathing. So I did enjoy basketball, and I think it has molded me into the person I am today.
All conference, 3 years, scored over 1,000 points, your senior MVP, and she didn't like all the running. If you'd really applied yourself. But were there options, though, maybe for college? Were folks looking at you with those kind of numbers in high school?
I did go to some basketball camps, but after, freshman year, I decided that softball was, kind of what I wanted to focus on. And, you don't really have a lot of time when you're playing travel ball and then high school sports. It kind of gets crazy. So I never really put myself out there to gain interest, and if I did, it was, it wasn't something that I was interested in. But just playing for fun, and yeah, that's.
Well, and it sounds like based on your timeline, you committed with softball pretty early in the process. So most of your basketball career, you already knew where you were going to be playing your college softball. So what was that recruiting process like, and what do you remember about it? What set App State apart?
Well, I committed my sophomore year. Funny thing you said that, I committed right before a basketball game. I called the coach probably 30 minutes before warm-up started, and I told her that, I wanted to come and play for App State, and then I went and played a basketball game. So it's funny how worlds collide like that. But my recruiting process was probably different than a lot of people's because the rules have changed now. I think that, you can't even talk until like junior year, and I obviously committed my sophomore year. So I had went to a bunch of camps, and the coaching staff is totally different. But I went to a bunch of camps, and they would come and watch me play. And I think the second camp, we talked seriously, and, they made me an offer. And, I thought about it. I had some other options that I had to, sort out and stuff. But App State was, just a place that, it sounds so cliche, but it feels like home. And it was big for me to have a, college town atmosphere from where I am from back home. Everybody bleeds, Parkwood blue. So it was something that coming up here that I wanted to experience the same thing. I wanted to be able to have a community that also supports you, not just the school. So that was a big thing for me. I also love the cold weather. I don't like, the snow when we were trying to play, but I do like the cold weather, and I love the mountains, and it was just a place that felt like home. So that was it for it.
What are some of the things that you've found here in Boone that you're able to experience? You talked about the community in the mountains. Like, I know you don't have a ton of free time, but what are some things you like to do in Boone?
Well, over the summer, we go, to like Trash Can Falls and stuff, and that's a little bit of, cliff jumping and hiking and stuff. I'm not the type that I'm going to go hiking every weekend, but I definitely will go out, for a nice view. I like driving down the parkway. And then, I do love the snow when we're not trying to play. I like it when,
the January snow, not
the January snow, not the April snow. But, and, I love the restaurants here. I know that is probably not that important, but I do love going out to eat with friends and having a good time. So I love Boone. That's all I can say, really.
She's Baylee Morton, catcher for the App State softball team. Let's talk about being close to home, but not too close to home. Mm-hmm. Did that factor into the decision at all, being from Monroe? Again, it's not that far away, but you're far enough that, surprise visits are not that happen that often, I wouldn't think.
That's funny that you say that, because I was always, there's a college right near my hometown. Wingate University is right near my hometown, and then Charlotte, UNCC, isn't that far as well. But I always wanted to go a place that, my parents couldn't really surprise me. They couldn't show up, unwanted and be like, hey, we're here. But that home games, they could travel, and it wasn't really, that big of a deal. So I love the distance. I can go home on an off day if I want to and, spend the day and then be back up here, by the next morning. But I think it's a perfect distance for me, and I love the mountains, and it's so much better than the humid 85 at home. So.
So much of your story is this season and your decision to come back for an extra year, and that's not something that's common in the sport of softball. Take us through what went into the decision, and obviously you like Boone, so why not stay an extra year, but really what it means to be part of this team and to be with Coach Hoerner for one more season.
Well, honestly, it really wasn't much of a story. It's just I was like, why not come back? And I had to come back anyways to, finish my degree in my student teaching. And, I love Coach Hoerner, and there's nothing more that I would want to be doing than up here playing softball. And I've always said, like, I can work for the rest of my life, but I can't play softball for the rest of my life. So coming back for another year really wasn't any question. I mean, there's days that I'm like, oh my goodness, this is a lot. And, I could be doing other things, because a lot of my friends are out in the, they're working now, but there's no place I would rather be than here. And I can't thank, App State Athletics enough for granting us this year, because they didn't have to do that. And I'm just so appreciative, and there's no place I'd rather be.
Talk about the chemistry with your coaching staff, because that's important, because you're sort of an extension of them on the field, as we've talked about your responsibilities, but your connection to them, because if you don't have that extra year may not be as pliable for you.
Well, I actually came in with Coach Hoerner and Coach Show. They were, first years just like I was the first year. So it was kind of, a time of, seeing what we got, and, they got to meet me and I got to meet them at the same time. So they really knew nothing about me before I knew anything about them. So it was definitely, a roller coaster trying to, fill out, what you can say and what you can't say. But I think that the relationship that I have with the coaches and the other girls, I don't want to speak for them, but it is she is like a second mom to us. You know, we see her more than we see our real family. So she definitely makes, you know, the atmosphere definitely family oriented. And she's always said that to us from the beginning. You know, family is super important. And, you know, Mika, her daughter, comes to the field all the time and is always playing with us. So it's definitely a place where you want to be. And the coaches are amazing.
How rewarding is it also to see the growth in this program? Because compared to its standing when you committed, it's really elevated its stature under Coach Hoerner.
Definitely. I mean, we have this program is now a winning program. People, you know, look at our record and stuff, and they're like, this team has got it. And before that, you were kind of like, you know, we don't know. And like when I committed, we weren't a winning program, but that was, you know, something that I wanted to be a part of. Is I wanted to be able to, you know, grow this program and send it to new heights. And that's always what I've said too, is like, I want to leave this place better than I found it. And I think that I have. And with our talent and our youth on our team, like, there's no telling what this team can do.
I want to follow up also. You mentioned student teaching and finishing up your degree. What are you teaching and what are you interested in? Is that what you want to do next after softball?
I am a health and physical education major, so I would do probably, you know, health and PE, but also I have a minor in sports science of coaching. So coaching is definitely something that I want to stay around, whether it be, you know, at the collegiate level or at the high school level. I'm not really picky, you know. I just want to help girls, you know, achieve their dreams. And I think that where I've come from, and like I said, I've come from very humble beginnings. I think that there's a lot of, you know, talent on these high school teams that really people haven't seen yet. So I would like to, you know, get out in a high school somewhere, coach at a high school, and, you know, just continue to elevate the game.
You still have plenty of softball to play, but to this
Yes.
point, congratulations on an awesome career.
Thank
what you've been
you.
able to accomplish. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
That's Baylee Morton joining us, catcher for the App State softball team. We'll take a break and we'll come right back after this on the Mountaineer Insider on Skyline, Sky Best, and WATA.
Life is a journey. We're told that there are mountains and valleys before us. A mountaineer trudges through. Where others see an obstacle, a mountaineer sees an opportunity. A mountaineer climbs tomorrow's mountains today. So what is a mountaineer? A mountaineer is you.
Welcome back to the Mountaineer Insider on Skyline, Sky Best, and WATA. It's time now for our Student Athlete Spotlight. And when head coach Amy Haywood took over the women's soccer team this year, her netminder was no mystery. Kerry Eagleston has been a focal point in goal for the Mountaineers over the last several years. The rising junior is so much of this team's personality and carries them on the field, directing the defense and making sure everyone's in place. She's a pretty good stopper there in cage as well. And she's not from too far away. Grew up in the Winston-Salem area, went to West Forsyth High School, and so she'll take us back to her hometown and give us a little peek behind the curtain as to her high school success, what she did growing up, and how she arrived here at App State.
I was all-conference all 4 years, all-state in 2019, and then we won the state championship my sophomore year in 2017. I remember this so clear as day because it was amazing. I saved the first PK, and then it got to the final round of PKs, and I had to save it to win, or if they scored, they won. I ended up guessing the right way. It hit the post, didn't go in, so we ended up winning. Down that way is the high school, and then this way is like all the fast food, shopping centers and stuff in here. This is like the main road. Louisville Clemens is the main road for Clemens. So this is my field. A lot of memories on this field. That whole goal used to be a sandbox. I hated playing on that side of the field, but that side was nice. My dentist, his daughter was the forward on the other team, and she had a breakaway, and I saved the 1v1, but she ended up kicking me in the face, and I got up and there's like blood pouring down my face. My mom thought it was my teeth, so she was like, oh, the dentist's daughter just ruined her teeth, yada, yada, yada. I played my last game here. We lost in the 4th round my senior year, and I actually finished playing as a forward on this field. We had 2 keepers. It was me and Olivia Protopis. I played first half, Olivia played second half, and we were down 1-0, just chilling on the bench over there in second half, and he goes, Kerry, why don't you put your field player jersey on? I said, well, why? He said, because I'm gonna put you at forward. So I finished my last high school game as a forward, so that was interesting. There's a tournament that this ballpark does in the spring, and when I was a freshman in high school, I think App was playing in it. So, or maybe I might have been a junior because I went to go watch Elizabeth play. She was playing for App, so it was her freshman year. I played at the Y for a little bit when I was really small, and then I played at another little club somewhere in Winston. I don't even remember what the name was. And then I came here. And I played here for a long, long time. Up until I graduated, I was still practicing at these fields. I committed Christmas of my junior year. Down there on field 6 is where I fractured my thumb. Fractured both, actually. Both of my thumbs I fractured on field 6. 8th grade year, I fractured this thumb. It was on a 1v1, and she ended up kicking me like right in here, and I fractured the growth plate. So I had a cast on for about 4 weeks. So, and then the second time, it was like the same thing, but I fractured it up in here, so I just had a little splint instead of a cast. But both on field 6, so not my lucky number.
It's a great save by Kerry Eagleston.
A shot on, what a stop by Eagleston.
Going into my freshman year is when I really decided that I wanted to play soccer in college. That's when I really started looking for colleges and, you know, what I wanted to study, what I wanted out of a college. App won. I'm glad it did too.
These lines, like the creases in my father's hands, show the hard work and sacrifices of a line worker. These lines are the connections my father helped build between people, businesses, and organizations. They tell the story of how we invested in ourselves. We're public power, and these lines are our lines.
Serving as the primary scholarship fund of App State Athletics, the Yosef Club supports Mountaineer student athletes through scholarships, athletics facility enhancements, and programmatic needs support. Members enjoy access to priority game day parking and season ticket locations, exclusive access to road trips and postseason appearances, and most importantly, the opportunity to invest in the next generation of Mountaineers. Visit MountaineersAthleticFund.com to make your championship investment by joining the Yosef Club today.
Hi, my name is Melissa Weddle, and I'm Department Chair of Recreation Management and Physical Education at Appalachian State University. We offer 2 degree-granting programs, one in Recreation Management with a focus in Outdoor Experiential Education, Recreation and Park Management, and Commercial Recreation and Tourism. Our second degree-granting program in Health, Physical Education, and Coaching offers teacher certification for public schools in health and physical education. You can get a minor or certificate in coaching. We are the front porch to the Beaver College of Health Science, where our focus is on quality of life, wellness, and physical activity. We're located in the beautiful mountains of Boone, North Carolina, so come join us, check out our website, or take a class.
Welcome back to the Mountaineer Insider on Skyline Sky Best and WATA. I'm Dave Thomas, along with Matt Present. We're talking App State softball today, and we're joined now by Kayt Houston. Congratulations on a terrific season thus far for you. We'll get into that in a little bit. Thank you for your time, too.
Thank you so much.
Let's go back to the beginning, as we always do. When did you get into the sport? Who put a bat and a glove in your hand first?
So my parents put me in t-ball from really early. I also played soccer, and I was a gymnast for a while. But yeah, so t-ball was always my number one, for sure.
What was it growing up that made you gravitate to softball, given the fact that you were playing a couple other sports, you had some different interests? So what was it that grabbed you with softball?
I was really competitive as a kid. I had to learn how to control that. So it was probably just, how much adrenaline you have running the bases, trying to chase down a ball. Probably just that.
When did you realize, though, you were pretty good at it?
I don't know. I feel like I got pretty good when I started playing travel ball. I kind of realized where I was going. But, my parents have always just helped me out and pushed me to be the best that I can and just, always stay humble with it too.
You mentioned travel ball, and I think that's something, especially with softball, where the emphasis isn't necessarily your high school team. It's really the travel ball. It's a ton of games. It's a ton of travel. It's in the word. Mm-hmm. What is that culture, that camaraderie that you build with that group of girls at a young age?
You really figure out how to be with a team and play with different people. Sometimes you're not always going to click with other people, but you have to learn how to work with people, and you do everything you can for your team and the person beside you. So it's a really great learning experience, and getting to college softball, it's a lot different because you really have to, you live with these people 24/7 basically, so you got to figure it out.
Was it different teams each year? I mean, just as your roster will turn over from year to year, were you on different travel teams where you had to kind of reacclimate yourself to the new surroundings?
Sort of. So in 6th grade is when I started playing travel ball, and we kind of had the same few people that would always be on the team, here and there, new people. But then I would say probably in my 9th grade year is when I got to like a higher travel ball team, and it stayed the same pretty consistently. So.
All right, you're a natural righty, but you bat left-handed. Not super uncommon for baseball or softball, but whose idea was that? Did you start in t-ball batting lefty, or did that come along a little bit later?
Yeah, so my mom, it's actually kind of funny. She said I always looked better swinging left-handed, so she just kept me there ever since t-ball, and so that's that, yeah.
So she's had a lot of influence. So we were talking about your name and how your name was selected. So mom picked that, and now she's picked the way you bat too. But that's something that you're carrying with you. Did you have to really commit to that at an early age and train yourself, or did it come along so early that it was just you just did it and it was there?
I think it was pretty natural. I don't really ever remember having too much trouble. Tweaks here and there of just fixing certain things. But yeah, my parents have always just said it looked better that way. So.
Fair enough. It's worked well. So Dave asked, when you realized that you were good. After that, there was a point in time where you decided that college softball was something that you wanted to pursue. What was kind of that moment where it was like, not only is this something attainable, but this is where I want to spend my next 4 years?
I would say probably in middle school. I went to a bunch of camps. We grew up watching the World Series in my house, so it was just super cool to see these college softball players and do big things and kind of change the softball world a little bit. So I think probably in middle school is when I decided to really focus on it.
It's interesting you bring that up because the last couple of years there's been a lot of attention to the Women's College World Series and just how many eyeballs, the ratings, etc. What's it been like to be in the sport and to see it grow in this way?
It's really cool. We have people from all over the country on this team, so it's so cool to think, just App State is also making an impact too about throughout the whole country. I mean, we have people from California, Wisconsin, Illinois. It's just so crazy to think that it's growing.
She's Kayt Houston, member of the App State softball team, joining us here on the Mountaineer Insider today. I'm a little familiar with your high school. It turns out athletes, it turns out winning teams. How much of growing up in that environment contributed to your competitive nature and to the history and the lineage that is that school?
So South Point obviously is known for football. We're Football City, USA right there. So I think we have a lot of competitive people there and just wanting to be better. And, the Rock Hill is such a tight-knit community too. I mean, we're right there with Winthrop, so we're all just kind of all about sports and just kind of,
was there a player that you watched growing up that you modeled your game after?
Well, my mom played volleyball at Winthrop, and so my dad did play baseball in college too, so they kind of were my people, I guess you could say.
So it's really a family, it's a big part of it. Do you still talk a lot of sports, whether it's softball, basketball, whatever? Is that still a big part of your conversation piece?
It is, yeah. We're big Panthers fans as well, so we try to go to games as much as we can. And so, yeah, it's just, we're all about sports. My brother plays soccer, and it's just always been something we've done, so.
Well, and the family environment at games at App State, the parents are very into it. There's awesome cheers and camaraderie. How much does that add to your level of enjoyment on the field to have your parents and to have other people's parents be so tight-knit in cheering you guys on?
It's really awesome because, last year we didn't have very many people, but this year it's so cool to look up in the stands and it's completely full. We have people in the outfield too sometimes. It just makes it feel like more normal, I guess.
I mean, softball dugouts, there's a lot of chatter, a lot of things going on, but does that environment, that ambience, does that bleed in sometimes where you go, do you guys hear them?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that something you guys talk about?
Yeah, we do, because sometimes, when calls don't go our way, we hear the parents chirp in and stuff, so it just kind of brings the fun back into it and just kind of a sense of normalcy.
To go back to your road here to App, what do you remember about the recruiting process and what stood out to you about App State that made you realize Boone was a good fit for you?
So I grew up coming here for vacation all the time. It's actually funny because I didn't ever look at App State to come until Coach Hoerner was here. She's just all about the family vibe and just, we're here for each other and we're supporting each other no matter what. And that's something that I really look forward to because I come from a family where we're all about each other all the time. So, it felt like home.
You talked about your parents playing. How much did you lean on them through the decision process? And were there letters, texts, calls? How did that work for you? And how much did you lean on their experiences as you've talked about the closeness you have with them?
Yeah, they just wanted me to be where I wanted to be and where I was going to be the most happy and most successful. They're my biggest supporters. They want me to be the best that I can, but also loving what I do and having fun with it because if you're not having fun, there's no point. So they just wanted to make sure that, I know what I want to do and just if this is really what I wanted to do, then they would make it happen for me. So.
You talk about trying to figure out what it is that you want to do. Outside of softball, what interests do you have and what classes are you taking?
I'm a psychology major, so I want to work with kids. I'm still trying to figure it out what I really want to do, but maybe like an early childhood interventionist type of thing. But yeah, I really love working with kids and just being around them.
Not saying your teammates are childish, but I've talked to a lot of athletes who are psychology majors. How does that help you manage the dynamic of a locker room and even in game when things maybe not going your way or a strife created? Do you fall upon some of those things?
Yeah, so I always want to help other people as best as I can, putting others before myself. So I think that kind of plays a role into it and just kind of understanding that people are different. Not everyone's going to like some things that you're going to say and not everyone wants to hear certain things. So you just kind of figure out what they need in that moment type of thing.
What else have you found here in Boone that has been fun for you to do off the field and just in the community, out on King Street or what have you?
Yeah, me and my roommates, we like to go out to eat a lot and just take pictures around the town and stuff like that. And we also like to go on hikes down the Blue Ridge Parkway and like that kind of thing. It's just super cool to be outside.
Well, she's had a super cool season thus far, and we'll get into that coming up in just a little bit. She is Kayt Houston. App State softball. We'll continue our conversation next. This is the Mountaineer Insider on Skyline, SkyBest, and WATA. Welcome back to the Mountaineer Insider on Skyline Sky Best and WATA. I'm Dave Thomas, along with Matt Present. We're talking with Kayt Houston, member of the App State softball team. I want to go back to high school a little bit because you had a really successful high school career. I think at one point it was offensive MVP, team MVP, defensive MVP, a lot of success there. And then COVID hits and shortens the senior season. How hard was that for you to process after having success and having fun, as you talked about a moment ago, but all of a sudden it comes to a grinding halt and you have no control over that? What was that like for you?
Yeah, it was really weird because, you know, we were expecting an extra week of spring break, so everyone was so excited. We were like, wow, we don't have to go to class for another week. That's awesome. And then it just kind of kept pushing, and then we were like, wow, it really is just gone just like that. It was really crazy. You know, I do miss my high school teammates a lot, but we all kind of kept in touch, and I feel like it kind of strengthened our relationships because we got to talk more than we probably would have because we just see each other on the field for the most part.
So often in college athletics, the biggest jump in growth is between freshman year and sophomore year, and that's certainly been the case for you. We'll get into the statistics in a moment, but what has changed, what has clicked for you in between last year and this season from a development perspective?
I think definitely my confidence has grown too. You know, being a freshman, you always get super nervous, kind of, and I think, you know, my teammates are the best people ever. They're always supportive, and they're just wanting the best for everybody. So I think, you know, having them and the coaching staff always, you know, support you and just know that it's okay to mess up sometimes. You're not going to be perfect all the time. So I think, yeah, it's just been a lot of fun.
Speed of the game, slowing things down. At what point last year did you feel that was happening for you?
I would say maybe like mid-season, once we kind of got into the swing of things and just getting into the habit of, you know, traveling and just playing a series and stuff. But yeah, my teammates, we always just have so much fun too, so it helps me relax too.
All right, you're having a terrific season, and I think not only have you won back-to-back Conference Player of the Week honors, but you hit 3 home runs in one game, and that's something that no one in App State history has hit 4. Just take me through that game. You hit the first, okay, you've hit home runs before. You hit the second, this is pretty cool, I would imagine. The third, where's your head at?
Yeah, so it's funny because after the third one, I came in and MP and Baylee were there, and I said, what is happening? I've never done anything like this before. It was just so crazy. I guess I just was seeing the ball really well, and it just was like a big beach ball to me. So yeah.
Confidence has to be looming, I would think, at that point.
Yes, definitely.
Let's talk about the walk-off. Now, that's something that every child in the backyard imagines.
Mm-hmm.
Had you had that experience before, and then walk us through the pitch, the hit, and when you realized that you'd send it over?
So last year against Georgia State, I did have a walk-off the first time and for my career, and then this home run, I mean, I just was hoping that it was over and fair, and so then I saw everyone celebrate, and I was like, wow, that's awesome. I just did that. So, you know, just doing everything I can for the team. You know, they're just my biggest supporters, and I want to make them happy and proud of me.
From a mechanical perspective, are you thinking about trying to elevate the softball, or is it simply just swing hard and try to square it up, and it just so happens it's flying over the fence?
Yeah, you know, I always just tell myself, just hit the ball hard somewhere. You know, I'm not trying to hit it on top of so field. You're just doing anything, moving runners or just in the gap type of thing. So yeah, keeping it simple.
Kayt Houston's our guest from App State softball, talking about her terrific season thus far. To put up the kind of numbers you're putting up, you just don't roll out of the bed and do that. You know, there's got to be some preparation. What was the commitment like for you as an offensive player? How many swings are you getting? Do you have a ritual, routine, a set number of things that you do when you're working out in the off season to get ready for this?
Yeah, so I am kind of superstitious. Before games, I hit with the same person, and we go to the same cage, the first cage, then the next cage, so that kind of thing. But you know, I try to keep things simple and just kind of feel good. And if I'm, you know, feeling well, then that's just kind of where I go. So.
Dave mentioned your offense, but another jump from last year to this year is primarily last year you were the designated player, and this year you're playing much more in the field, in the outfield. How has that experience led you to growth as a player, and what does being in the field defensively help in terms of your offense?
Yeah, so I feel like, if I'm not having the best day offensively, I have the opportunity to go out in the field and just get it back in the field, do everything I can defensively, and then vice versa too. If I'm not doing the best defensively, I always have offensively to try to make up for it. So.
But do you like that both sides of it? Because as I said, in high school you were named your team's defensive player, so you're accustomed to it. Did you miss that aspect of it last year, and did you really enjoy getting back into the field?
Oh, of course, yeah. I love playing in the outfield. I know it's kind of weird, you were running around chasing the ball, but I did certainly miss it. But I had to do what was best for the team, and just taking a part of that role. So.
Baylee mentioned with us earlier the speed of the game and the speed of pitches, and she threw out 66 miles per hour, which I think people who watch baseball are like, oh, it's nothing. But you guys are 46 feet away. It's coming in at least as fast, if not faster, than baseball. How were you able to recognize pitches, detect spin, and so on and so forth? What goes into that for you as a hitter?
Yeah, it's certainly really hard. I've gotten better over the years and still not the best, obviously. It's super hard. Pitchers have great spin, and you have a short amount of time to figure it out. So really it's just kind of keeping it simple and just thinking each pitch is going to be there and just deciding quickly if it's not, and just kind of hoping for the best, kind of.
Now, do you like to work quickly in the box, or are you stepping out and recollecting every time? Because everybody's got you talked about your superstitions, their rhythm, their routine. What is yours when you're at the plate?
Yeah, so I step out every pitch, but I normally get in the box pretty early, even before the pitcher's ready, just kind of so I'm ready before her, kind of thing. So yeah, I just, take a deep breath, get in the box, and hope for the best.
You talked about that Coach Hoerner is what attracted you to App State, that you'd been around Boone before but hadn't really considered App until Shelly Hoerner's arrival and her recruiting you. How would you describe her to someone else, to a prospective recruiter, to a friend? What sets her apart?
Like Baylee said, she's like a second mom. She'll be there for you whenever, 2 a.m. if you need her, she'll be there. And she's doing everything that she can for us, and she really is like a second mom. We see her all the time, and she's getting us cute little gifts and stuff like that, and words of affirmation and that kind of thing. So,
how are you different now? Not just as a player, but as a student, because there's that aspect of it too. You've got the classroom side of things. From when you got here your freshman year to where you are right now, how do you see yourself evolving?
So the major difference is we have in-person classes, so that's kind of been a, readjustment to figuring that out. But yeah, I think I'm doing pretty well. I'm just trying to do the best that I can. So.
All right, every team has a little bit different chemistry, right? No matter if it's mostly the same team as last year, completely different from last year. What makes this team unique?
I feel like we have a lot of energy on this team. We have Addie Ray and Kennedy Upshire. They're probably the big voices on the team, and they get everyone hype and stuff. And we just love each other so much. We're just doing it for each other and just playing the game.
Well, let's wrap up by getting to know your teammates a little bit better, and I'm going to throw you a curveball, pun intended here, a couple questions to see how you handle. Of your teammates, who's most likely to be elected president?
I would have to say Claire Carson, definitely Claire Carson. She's a political science major, and yeah, she just keeps us up to date on everything that we need to know. So.
Okay, so let's say you've won this major award. You have to go and you got to dress up.
Okay.
Of your teammates, somebody has to be your fashion stylist. Who's going to style you for this big award show?
I would definitely have to say Katie Walk. She is definitely the fashionista on the team. Mm-hmm.
And then if you're going to serve a meal, you get to plan the pregame meal for the team. What are you having?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I might just have to say Chick-fil-A. We love Chick-fil-A on this team, so.
Well, it's good to know for sure. Congratulations on all the success.
Thank
in a
you.
short period of time. We talked about your growth from last year to this year. It's been remarkable. Continued success to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
That's Kayt Houston joining us here on the Mountaineer Insider. We'll come back and wrap things up in just a moment here on Skyline Sky Best and WATA.
Let's go!
To a place where you can grow.
A place to be heard.
And take a closer look.
A place where you can crush it.
And push yourself.
A place to find your voice.
This place rocks.
and rules.
A place where you can get out.
A place you'll never forget.
So where is this place? Let me show you.
What brings us to mountains? Is it the possibilities that await us at the top? Are we looking forward to how the challenge will mold us, transform us? Maybe the mountain is inside all of us. After all, we are mountaineers. Appalachian State University.
Hi, my name is Melissa Weddle, and I'm Department Chair of Recreation Management and Physical Education at Appalachian State University. We offer 2 degree-granting programs, one in recreation management with a focus in outdoor experiential education, recreation and park management, and commercial recreation and tourism. Our second degree-granting program in health, physical education, and coaching offers teacher certification for public schools in health and physical education. You can get a minor or certificate in coaching. We are the front porch to the Beaver College of Health Science, where our focus is on quality of life, wellness, and physical activity. We're located in the beautiful mountains of Boone, North Carolina, so come join us, check out our website, or take a class.
Thanks for joining us today as we wrap up the Mountaineer Insider on Skyline Sky Best and WAETA. I'm Dave Thomas along with Matt Present. Matt, we say this every week, but how fun this is to get to know the student athletes on a deeper level and the things that we find out about what makes them tick, what's gotten them here, what's taking them where they're going. Again, 2 really good conversations with Baylee and Kayt.
No doubt. And the 2 things that I take away from today's conversations. One is head coach Shelly Hoerner and what she means to these players. They both use the term second mom. They talk about her involvement both on and off the field. But the second is the word energy. And they talk about the energy of this team and that's what makes them unique. And it's not just the players on the field, but it's a really energetic fan base around this program. A lot of their parents come and are really loud and vocal and enthusiastic, and it makes the softball games here at App so special.
And I think, too, they exemplify what you want out of student athlete, the commitment they've made to chase this dream of getting here, and now that you're here, taking advantage of that opportunity. But they're not the only 2 athletes on App State's campus that are taking advantage of opportunity.
No, I want to take this moment to highlight a couple of athletes on the track and field team who had an awesome weekend at the Duke Invitational. Ryan Brown in the steeplechase set a career record that was also a program record. 26 years it hadn't been touched, and he went and destroyed that record this weekend at the Duke Invitational. And then Jada Branch on the women's side, she's a triple jumper, and right now not only did she win gold this weekend, but she's ranked 21st in the nation for triple jumpers. She's had a fantastic career here in the high country.
Well, as Matt has alluded to, success is spreading across the athletic department here at App State. We hope you've enjoyed this week's Mountaineer Insider on Skyline Sky Best and WATA.